say I know the storm come. Ma, I know the storm come. I said I know the storm.
Welcome back to Eating Elephants. And I'm here with John Cantrell, AKA the champ of Missouri and Kansas. What's up, John? How's it going?
Good, brother. How are you?
Man, I can't complain. You know, this is, if you guys didn't know, me and John been talking off camera for 30 minutes before we even get into this, so going into boxing. So I'll jump right in. You know, this weekend we had Gervonta Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. What'd you think of that fight, John?
Banger.
Yeah, 100% banger.
I love Tank, man. I think Tank's the real deal. I think he's a dog.
No, 100%, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's kind of funny, you know, when you look at somebody like Tank, you wonder, is it the stable or is it Tank? Could Calvin replicate that same success with another boxer, or would it be kind of singular to Tank being who Tank is?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Tank is, you know, Tank's got a larger than life kind of following, and how you know what I mean? He's got an aura about him that really kind of puts stuff together. I mean, and he walks it like he talks it.
And I think I can agree. That's something that you and Tank kind of have in common, right? Because I would say you're one of the uncrowned kings of Topeka, if you guys didn't know. You had a big event here when was that event?
It was May 18th.
May 18th. And you guys said, I read the numbers were over 4,000 people in the center of Topeka?
Yeah, downtown. We shut down Kansas Avenue, which is like the main road downtown Topeka.
Right, and as they say, you barked the whole city out. And I think that's huge. How does that make you feel to know what you're doing is actually making a difference in your community?
I mean, that's everything, man. The idea behind it was, you know, since COVID, nobody's wanted to get out and go do things. You know, and I'm finding with working with other promoters and working with other managers and shows, like, a lot of people really don't want to take care of their fighters, man. They don't. So when I had the opportunity to both help out my city and get all the local fighters like on the show and promote them and highlight them so that people knew, because there's a lot of fight fans. There's not a lot. People need to be able to put a face to the name. Like, they need to know who they're rooting for. They need to know who they're watching. Right. And especially for local fighters, man, it's so important to get these guys out there and publicize the events where they can be seen and they can showcase their skills.
You know, 100%. Because we talked about how fighting can be a lonely road, right?
The lonely sport, man.
Yeah. All we ever see are the models, the sports cars, and the businesses.
Right. You see everybody at the top of the mountain.
Right.
You know, you don't see them when they're so depressed they can't get out of bed the whole week after the fight. You know, because you've put thousands of hours of training and blood and sweat and tears. And when you've told your coach, I can't throw another punch, I can't go another step, dude, you've ran another mile and you've thrown another 100 down, you know, and nobody sees that. Nobody sees the you know, when you start your fight camp 8 weeks out, you know, for 8 weeks, 56 days, man, all accumulates to one moment in time when you step in the ring, after they've duct taped your gloves on, you know, and this is, you know, 8 weeks of work, and I have to perform. You know, everybody sees you when you've won and when you've done well and when you've, you know, accomplished something, but nobody sees all the work that goes into it. Nobody sees the 4:30 a.m. runs. You know, nobody sees you out there when it's 12 degrees getting your road work in, freezing to death. You know, nobody sees you when you can't walk and you've got to go take 40-degree ice baths to try to get the lactic acid buildup out of your muscles. Nobody's there for that.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of guys, you know, even the boxers themselves aren't there for that sometimes, right? It makes me think of guys like Adrian Broner. I wonder how long it's been since Adrian Broner's took one of those 4 a.m. ice baths to get the day started.
I don't know, man. You know, I always think the best of people. I've always made it a habit to do that, Sean. And, you know, the idea is, I see the guys that are at their best and I always say, oh man, they're training harder than I am. I need to train harder. You know, and the idea is hopefully, you know, iron sharpens iron. You know, as we grow and as we progress, you know, and somebody's doing it a little bit faster, doing a little bit better, we got to up our game, man. We got to get faster. You know, if he's getting up at 4:30, I'm going to get up at 4:15. I'm going to take any advantage, any edge I can get on my opponent.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's the heavyweight mentality. So I think the smaller guys like the Broners and the Javantes and the Crawfords, they're a little more yappy and they're a little more feisty because the stakes ain't as high.
Well, I mean, they are. It's just different.
Yeah, for the because with the heavyweights, what 70% of heavyweight fights gonna
Knockout.
end in a KO.
Right. Like, well, and Sean, one punch can change your life. You know, we've watched it happen several times. You know, I'm buddies with McClellan, Gerald McClellan, and you know, that's hard, dude. People die in the ring, man. It happens. At the heavyweight level, dude, you look at guys like Francis Ngannou that are, you know, all the guys that are crossing over for the big money in boxing. Dude, like, can you imagine taking a punch from Francis Ngannou?
No, thank you.
Well, I kind of want to find out what it feels like, man. I kind of want to get in there and see what it's like.
I think, you know, because what's your current record?
9-0.
9-0. With that record, I think you deserve to get some of those top prospects. Who are some of the top prospects that, not necessarily that you want to fight, but that you're looking at in the heavyweight division?
Well, number one, I want to fight all of them.
Okay, 100%.
Of course, the apex would be getting to fight Alexander Usyk. He's one of my heroes. You know, I love the guy. I love what he stands for. I love what he represents. I think he's classy in a sport that's lost a lot of its class to the yapping and everything else. You know, he just shows up and lets the leather do the talking, man. And I appreciate that. But yeah, man, I'd like to fight Andy Ruiz, and I think me and Andy would have a really good fight. I think. Richard Torres, he's one of the new up-and-coming guys. I'd really like to get in the ring with him and see what that looks like. Jared Anderson I think he's got a really good chance of becoming the next great American heavyweight world champion if he keeps going the way he's going. Young, he's fast, he's mean, he's smart, he does the work. I think you know, if he can stay mentally tough, man, he's going to be tough. He's going to be a world beater.
Yeah, definitely.
That dude's going to be tough to beat. And I think JA's got a lot of the right people around him too. You know, a man is only as strong as his team. If your team is weak, man, you're in trouble. If you're going to be as strong as the people you surround yourself with. At least that's what I've found in life.
Yeah, I think that's huge with boxing, especially with the support.
Right. So, man, like for me, for instance, you know, I have Dangerous Damon Reed as my coach. Damon has 90 pro fights. He's fought on every continent on the planet. He's had 30 fights overseas. You know, the dude never signed with a major managerial brand. He was always the gatekeeper. He's fought 4 world champions. He fought for the WBO World Championship. I mean, the dude knows his game. Who better to have in my corner and leading me through that than somebody who's been there and done it? You know?
Yeah.
That used boxing and didn't let boxing use them. Because they happen. It happens both ways.
I think so. You know, in bringing that up, it reminds me of Devin Haney, right? We talked about the latest Devin Haney promotion where basically, you know, some things happen that maybe if Devin would to have entrusted a staple promoter to handle his business, like a Eddie Hearn or like a Warren or Arum or even a Mayweather, if you were to trust these people to do what they've been doing for years, you may not have had these issues. I always say all the time, people turn down 25% of $1 million to keep 100% of 100,000 all the time.
Right.
And that's huge. So let me ask you this. If out of all of these other promoters, you and Damon to that next level, who would you guys like to work with? What is a promotion that you said, man, if me and Damon can land a fight in this promotion, I feel like it would take me to the next level?
Damon's a big fan of Top Rank. He's plugged in with a lot of the guys in Top Rank. He thinks they do a lot, man, and they have a huge stable, and their stable is full of killers, man. I mean, you've really got to be a killer there. We've had some talks with Matchroom, which is Wilder's crew, his management company. Eddie Hearn, man, I mean, dude, the guy's done it. He's done it forever. I mean, he knows what he's doing. There's a lot of different ways we could go. We're open. It kind of depends.
Also with Matchroom, shout out to Matchroom, recently signed Jerron Boots Ennis as well.
Right. So Ennis is the truth, man.
Yeah, Ennis is next. I'm really, if you notice, guys who watch Fight Chat and watch Eating Elephants, I don't talk about Ennis. Because I just want to see that fight. He's got to do that. You
want to see the real dog come out.
Yeah, I want to see somebody test Ennis because he's moonwalking and pop locking against guys in the ring at this point, right? He's not. I mean, once he gets to doing the slow motion Michael Jackson moves, knocking guys out, I'm like, all right, Terrence,
Yeah.
Sean Porter, come,
Yeah.
you know,
Show this guy what's up.
you know, Danny
Let's
Garcia.
test him. Let's test him against it. Yeah.
But you know, the funny thing is, where the heavyweight division was maybe 4 years ago, I think is where that welterweight division is now. All the champions have moved on or gone up.
Right. It's time for the new era.
It's definitely for heavyweights 100%. You know, one thing that I always talk about on Eating Elephants is the preparation that it takes, because you do much more than just box in the ring, right?
Oh man. Yeah, it's everything. It's spiritual care, it's mental care, it's physical care, it's everything, man. You have got to commit to this 100%. 100% in all ways. Your diet has to be perfect. Your workout has to be perfect. I mean, everything has to be just right. Like, you really have to commit your life to doing this, you know?
So what does a day for John Cantrell look like without being in camp? Just a regular day.
So usually I'll get up and go to the office and get all the accounting done for Topeka Auto Glass, and and get through all my emails, and I'll find out where I need to make my sales calls and what businesses I need to touch base with and what accounts.
So you're actually the owner of Topeka Auto Glass?
I'm one of the owners of Topeka Auto Glass, yes.
Sweet. So what do you guys do at Topeka Auto Glass? You guys, of course, auto glass, right?
It's windshield repair and replacement, man. We're bullying Safelite out of our area.
100%. So we're scaling. I love that.
Well, we have a very good product, and we're very good at what we do, and we strive to be the best at it, especially when it comes to customers. We warranty our products. We warranty our workmanship. We put our money where our mouth is. And I think that there's just been a change where people will pay a little bit more to have quality, and to be able to trust that if that person messes something up, they're going to come back out and take care of it. And I'm like that in all my businesses. If the customer is unhappy with what they're getting, if the fans are unhappy with the show that they're getting, they're not going to come back and watch the fight.
No, 100%.
Right. So, I, like anything else, man, I put my heart 110% to whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, and I know that's huge, because it always shows. And I know you guys have multiple locations throughout.
Right. So we're opening up a location in Lawrence, and we're also opening a location in Manhattan. But then there's Topeka Tint Company, which does window tinting, and then there's a couple property. I'm big in the sobriety community. I'm in sobriety myself. If I make it a few more 24 hours, I'll achieve 5 years of sobriety in September.
Oh man, huge!
Yeah,
congratulations!
Right, thank you. 24 at a time, man. 24 hours at a time. But I pour a lot into the communities that I know that I used to struggle with. So, I try to help. That's the idea, right? You come out of the muck, you figure out how to clean yourself off, and then you go back and help pull other people out.
No, 100%. Because I know, one thing that we talked about and that I already knew was true is that heavyweight fighters aren't made; they're born, right? There's certain attributes that you have to be born with, and I know for you, you got into boxing a little bit later in life than maybe some of your opponents. So you mentioned things like being a part of the substance abuse or addiction community and helping those type of people. Are these things that you encountered before you got into boxing, or is this something that maybe in the beginning of the career that you had to kind of shake?
Nope, all before. Fighting was the answer for most of these things. Anytime that I felt like I was starting to slip or I needed to do something, I'd book myself a fight, because I knew that the mental and physical preparations would require 100% of everything I had. So I wouldn't have time to drink or get high or do anything else.
100%.
And then I stayed in it because it's worked. It keeps me sober.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense, man. I think also too, if you guys didn't know, fighting is also about pride, and it's about courage, and how bad do you really want it?
And I think a lot of times the misconception, even with fighters, we're our own biggest enemy. The only person I'm in the ring with is me. If I can perform at my greatest, it doesn't matter if I win or lose, man. If I get in there and I perform at my absolute best and I leave everything in the ring, man, I got nothing to feel bad about. I have absolutely nothing. And if I learn how to, my coach tells me everything I need to hear. He tells me how I need to move. He tells me how I need to, what kind of volume I need to have. He tells me my breathing techniques and when I need to relax in the ring and when I need to start, tightening up. if I do what he tells me to do, I'm going to succeed. You know, it's capitalizing on those things because they see it. You know, they have a 30,000 feet view from the other side of the ropes.
Yeah.
Right? They're able to see all the things that are happening inside the ring, but it's mastering your enemy is the answer to that is mastering oneself. Right? To know your enemy is to know yourself.
100%.
Right?
You know, I drank some tea this morning that said true compassion starts with kindness to yourself.
Amen.
And that's huge. And with that being said, eating elephants, I'm going to sign off with John Cantrell. You guys have a blessed day.
Likewise.
Peace.
Thank you, sir.
Say I know the storm come. I know the storm come. I said I know the storm. Hey, I know the storm coming cause the bullet wound starting to ache. Told my mama keep her dry on all them rainy days. When my niggas died, I had to slide, but it still ain't take the pain away. All them tears that I cried when they died, but it still ain't take the pain away.
What? Talking about, why you call it eating elephants?
I call it eating elephants because how you take on a big task, you got to take it one bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant.
Say I know the storm come. I know the storm come.